everybody. Welcome back to Cabin Crafts. Feels like we've been off for ages. I was very busy over the Christmas holiday, and that's a good thing. I was filling lots of internet orders, and so if you ordered from me, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Actually, internet business exceeded the foot traffic business in the shop. So if I hadn't had the internet, it would have not been so merry a Christmas. So I really appreciate everyone that orders from my website. And if you don't know my website, it's www.scoshop, and that's spelled SHOPPE.com. That being said, we are going to talk today about stencils. And I know I've shown you a little bit of stenciling, like with the floor cloth, but my whole shop is stenciled. I wanted it to look very early American, and stenciling was popular in America from about 1760 to 1840. So right within my favorite timeline. And so today I just brought a 2-layered stencil. This is an American Eagle. Now I know it's kind of hard to tell it's an American Eagle because it's a two-piece overlay. So you have, this is the background, and then when you get that done, this is the little details that you'll go in, and you can see it's already got dried paint on it because I've already used this stencil. It's in the tavern room of my shop. So, and Ron used it on his drum. If you've watched Frontier Patriot, you've seen it on Ron's drum, and in some of his videos where he's in the militia and they're marching down the streets of St. Genevieve. So today we're going to do a stencil, show you how to properly stencil. And stenciling was very popular for all the way back to caveman days. I mean, in the ancient caves of Europe, they would put their hand up against the cave wall and spit red ochre around their hand, and when they removed their hand, you had like a negative stencil. They also used it in ancient Egypt for the walls inside tombs and things. They would stencil the designs, the hieroglyphs, and then someone would come behind with a chisel tool and chisel all of that out, and that's why it looks so perfect in ancient Egypt tomb walls. It always has fascinated me, Egyptology, and the way it looked like they printed it on the walls. It's always so perfect. Now we know why. They had stencils. We're going to move forward several thousand years in history and go to early American stenciling. And most of my stencils are by a fellow named Moses Eaton. He and his son, Moses Jr., were itinerant stencils in early America, and they traveled all over New England and would stencil your walls. They carried their brushes, their paints, and their stencils. They would cut their own stencils out of heavy paper or cardboard and stencil your walls, and you would give them room and board and a little bit of money. And this was for people who wanted the look of lovely hand-blocked wallpaper in their homes like the wealthy had, but they couldn't afford it. So they would hire itinerant stencils. Another one was Rufus Porter. He was known mostly for murals. He would do a combination of stenciling and hand painting. And in my little bathroom in the shop, I've done a mural that's that same kind of a copy, and we'll hopefully try to show you that later on, the little mural in my bathroom. It's a combination of hand painting and stenciling. So today I'm going to show you how to properly stencil with this wonderful eagle stencil. And I get all of my stencils from a place in New England. It's called MB Historic Decor. M as in Mary, B as in boy, Historic Decor. And what the lady that owns that company has done is she has traveled to all over New England and made copies of these original stencils and then cut them out of Mylar. And this is Mylar. So your original stencils would have been cardboard or heavy paper. This is Mylar, today's stencil material. And so we're going to start, it's a 2-piece, like I said. We're going to start with the background, and I'm going to stencil upside down. And Dale might be able to get the camera in a little closer. I'm just going to lay this under here. We're going to need a few tools. We're going to need my favorite tape in all the world, frog tape. And so we're just going to tape this down on the corners so it won't move around so much. And what you can't see, and I'll hold this up in a minute, what you can't see is there's little tiny pinholes on this stencil. And what those pinholes are for is their registration marks. So you're going to need a pencil. So I've got my, it's probably crooked, but you're going to get the point. There's little tiny holes up here. And I'm just going to color that in. I don't know if you can see those, but there was a tiny hole here in the stencil and a tiny hole here. Now in our second overlay, there's little tiny holes, and we're going to line those up, and that's how you line up your overlays and you won't make a mistake. So of course we start with the background, and my tools are, I have a combination of nice real stencil brushes and these disposable guys that you can get at the craft store. We're going to use a combination of those just so you can see the difference. And we're going to do we're going to do the eagle part first. So I'm going to cover over with tape some of the things I don't want my stencil brush to go into and accidentally transfer. And you just cover it over. And that way when your stencil brush gets around that area, you don't have to worry about it going on to that. So I've got a really big stencil brush because we're going to do a really big background. And I'm going to take some of my tape, and I'm actually going to, on these stencil brushes, I tape them down really tight so that my brush stays really bunched together. The bristles stay really bunched together. You're going to use a lot of paper toweling, so make sure you have a roll of paper towels. So we're going to go into the brown first, which is over here. And you dip the bottom of your brush in that paint, and you're going to take a lot of it off. And then we're going to start, and I don't know if Dale can move in close so you can see me. There you go. I'm going to do the swirling method. And as you can see, I'm swirling. I need a little bit more. Take it off. And you want to swirl all of the outlines first. And then go back in and fill the middle. And this gives it a really cool shading effect. So I'm going to go around this wing. And sometimes you have to hold the wing down. Go around the outside edge. And then fill it in. And this actually is going to dry very fast. So when you're doing a wall, it really goes fast. So there's the brown, all done on our eagle. Let me see if I can lift him up just from the bottom, and you can see so far what we've got. Hold that up. Look how sharp that is. Isn't that neat? Okay, so now we've got this neat little branch down here. And I've got a darker brown. And I'm going to, you don't need much. And by the way, these are all Apple Barrel brand paints. You can get these anywhere. You can get them at craft stores, you can get them at Walmart. This size is about $1, so really, really reasonable. And for some of my paints, I have the great big ones because I use a lot of that color. So anyway, it's Apple Barrel paints. Now for this branch, I'm going to just take my tape and I'm going to cover these little leaf sections. But you'll notice I'm leaving the end of that branch Just cover this little guy here. And so I've left just kind of like the main branch. And I'm going to take one of these little pouncer brushes and dip that in my dark brown. And again, the same thing. You take a lot of it off, and we're going to pounce this time. We're going to use the pouncing method. And we're just going up and down. Done. All right, that one's done. And I'm going to take these little pieces of tape off so that we can do the little leaves. And you know, you don't even have to empty your brush. You can get as much of that off if you want. And I'm going to go into the green with the same brush. And we'll do the leaves. And there's that. So the green is done. The branch is done. And there's that. Isn't that awesome? Okay, next we're going to do these little lines up here. And these are, it's like a banner. So you can write Independence, Liberty, 1776, anything you want to write in that banner. So that's a little banner on the eagle's head. And I'm going to get another one of my spongy guys here. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to make that yellow, because I think a lot of banners are yellow. And again, I just barely dipped my brush. You're going to pounce a lot of it off, and then you're just going to pounce. You can do the swirling method with the bristle brushes, but you can't really swirl with the pouncers. And this is what you're going to find in a lot of craft stores. And you'll be surprised. A little goes a long way. Not have to use a lot of paint. Back in the 1970s, when everyone was excited about the bicentennial, a lot of these crafts made a resurgence, and people really, they started stenciling their homes again, and you know, picking up some of these old-timey kinds of crafts that they did during the, you know, early America. So now I'm going to show you that. There's our banner. Okay, next, what's on this stencil, and then we'll be done with it, is the stars. And I'm going to use, whoops, I dropped it. Hang on, excuse me. I told you these weren't professional. Okay, we're going to use this little bitty guy, and I'm going to do navy blue stars because we're on a white background and it wouldn't show up. It wouldn't show up if we did white. So, and then if this wasn't on white, I would probably make the eagle's head white. But we're just going to go in and just barely do these stars. Anyway, back to the bicentennial. Some of you younger folks won't remember because you weren't born yet, but like Ron and Justine, they weren't born during that time, so they don't know what I'm talking about. But a lot of folks my age, I was 12 years old in the bicentennial in 1976, so that tells you my age. I was born in 1964, and I remember at 12 years old, I remember it vividly. I mean, you could not go to a fast food restaurant without getting a commemorative glass, or your mason jars had Liberty Bells on them. I mean, it was just, patriotic fever was everywhere, and I loved it. And nowadays, it just seems like people, it's not cool to be patriotic, and I don't understand that. because I'm very patriotic. America's not perfect, but I still think she's the greatest nation in the world. All right. So now, and these stars on the original stencil were not perfect. They were very folk arty. So you can see they're just kind of, they might just look like little blobs. I don't know. But that's our stars. So we are done with this first stencil. And we can just put that away, and I will go to the detail stencil. And this is where it really gets fun. And this is already dry enough to lay over our detail stencil. So we had our little registration marks here with a pencil. There's one there and one there. You probably can't see them. And then on my stencil is those little bitty tiny holes. And we're going to line that up and tape it down. So there's that hole, and there's that hole. And we're just going to tape it down. Get them all lined up really good. And anytime, and I'm going to be using black, and anytime you're using black, you want to do it last, because it's such an overpowering color, and it's a very, make sure my holes are lined up here. And it doesn't, and black is probably the hardest one to stencil with. So here we are, we're overlaid on our details, and this is a shield, and there's more little stars, and then there's more little greenery, and then all of these pieces are the eagle's wings, the details of the eagle's wings. And I moved my stencil, so I gotta fix it again. And this is what's cool about these stencils. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the green and do these little leaves. And again, you don't need a lot, and you want to take most of it off. Because what will happen is, if you've got too much paint on your brush or your pouncer, it will bleed under your stencil, and that's not fun. So there's some more of our little leaves. And then here we have our shield. So I'm going to do blue for the top, like what it would have been on that Americana shield. So there's blue. And then we have, and I probably will have to use tape here because it's red and white stripes. So I'm going to tape off some of these stripes. And I'm going to tear my tape down the middle. And I'm going to do the white first. In fact, I might need to get a pair of scissors. These are so skinny. There's that one. So white, red, white, red, white, red. There's that one. There's that one. Make these skinny. There's that one. Okay, so now we're going to use, and I didn't bring over white. Dale, can you hand me some white paint? Thank you. Obviously, Dale is being the videographer. He's doing a great job. He's going to say I yell at him. We're running out of battery? Really? Well, that's not good. So here's the white. And then I'm going to go in with red. Well, no, wait, I still have some white. Here's some little white stars. Some of them might show up, some of them might not. Okay, then we're going to go in with red. So I'm going to remove these pieces. And I'm going to do red. And I've already got some over here. And I'm going to try not to go into my white for the sake of time. Let's see how that looks. Pretty cool. Okay. So now all that's left is black. And so I've already got my black poured. And I'm going to go back to one of these brushes again. You go through a lot of stencil brushes the more colors you have. Put that on there tight. Get some black. Now, like I said, black is the hardest one. So we're going to take off the majority of this black. Because even though you think there's not a lot on there, believe me, there is. And we're just going to pounce everywhere that there's these little eagle slits, feather slits. Need a little more black. Always want to make sure you pounce it off. I'm not trying to go fast because we're running out of battery, and I'm surprised that it don't last that long, but that side's done. Try and get through this whole wing without reloading. It's like I said, a little goes a long way. You don't think when you're looking at it that there's very much on there, and there actually is. Now for the big reveal. Okay. So here's our eagle. And you could go back in and do little details like give him a little eye. You could write words like with a Sharpie pen in here, liberty or death, independence forever, love my country, whatever you want to say. But there is how you properly stencil. So we're going to probably sign off, and then I'm going to try and do another video where we take you on a tour of the stencils in the shop. So for now, bye-bye. Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of the stenciling. Dale's going to show you above my head here. This is the eagle stencil that's in the shop. You can also see there's stencils above that and around the door moldings. And there's even stencils down below along the what's called the mop board in this room. This is the tavern room. So this is my early American stencil in here, the eagle that we just did in the video. And now we're going to go into the other front room, and I'm going to show you the oak leaf stencil in there. Okay, now we're in the other front room. This is the oak leaf stencil. This is another historic stencil that is a Moses Eaton stencil. And this goes all the way around the perimeter of the room up by the ceiling. And you can use whatever colors you want on these stencils. I mean, you know, whatever you like. And then down here, if Dale can slowly go down to this fire screen and get a close-up of that. This is a combination of stenciling and hand painting. This is a fireplace screen that I painted. The building and the trees were stencils, and then I went in and hand painted details like the grass and the leaves on the trees and the clouds, a little bit of the detail painting I did by hand. You're crooked, babe. There we go. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. And then the last thing we're going to show you is in the bathroom. This is the little powder room that's in my store. It's just a toilet and a sink, and it was very small, so I wanted to do a mural in here. And so these buildings are actual stencils. These would be Rufus Porter style stencils. So the ones that are on my walls out in the shop are Moses Eaton, and this is a Rufus Porter style mural. And so the buildings are stencils. The little cows are stencils. And then I free-handed their spots on them. And then up above, the geese that are flying, those are stencils. Try not to make you all sick. The mountains and the trees are freehand. And the sky that I did, that's freehand. I even added in some little log cabins. Those are freehand. Try not to get yourself in the mirror. There's a little log cabin. There's a little log cabin above the toilet over here on the left if he wants to get that one. That was freehand. And then the little apple trees are a stencil. There's a little cupboard above that, so it's casting a shadow. But the little stream and rivers and a lot of the little grass details, that's hand done. I put little dots on the trees for the apples, little red dots. So this is the mural that you can do with stencils. So that's our stencil video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will try to get more videos uploaded as soon as we figure out how this contraption works. Now we've got to edit, and I'm not sure how to do that. So thank you all for watching, and we'll try to get another video up very soon. I'm not going to make promises that I can't keep, so I'm not going to say it's going to be one every Sunday night or whatever. I'm just going to try and get them up as often as I can. So thank you for your patience and your patronage of my shop and watching my YouTube channel. And until next time, Happy New Year!